Hi, I'm Tim, and welcome to Watchbox at Dubai Watch Week 2019. There is a broad array of watches on the ground, but few more exciting than those from the newly minted Singer watch brand. I'm here with designer, founder, and COO of Singer Watch, Marco Borraccino. Marco, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me here.
Now, there have been a lot of automotive watch collaborations, for the most part dismal. This one's an exception because the watch itself stands on its own. Let me know from the beginning, how did the Singer car watch collaboration come along? And then how did you design the watch to stand on its own, cars aside, cars irrespective?
Let's say that everything started with my love for cars and the admiration that I had for Rob Dickinson, Singer Reimagined cars. We got in touch and we were exchanging about cars and our shared passion for the design of the 60s and 70s. And one day I asked him if we'd ever think to create a Singer watch and what this watch could eventually look like. So being the both of us designers, we start dreaming about fantastic things. But the most important thing is that we both agreed that whatever this watch would look like, it would have been a chronograph. That became a kind of pushing thing for me because I realized that chronograph, since the creation of the chrono, they didn't actually change that much. So the idea of creating something that is deeply innovative and is very exciting, of course, for any creative guy. And the idea of creating a brand and jumping into the watch market with a new chrono that nobody else has done before was even more, kind of a dream coming true. So yeah, I designed the watch, and probably the star aligned that day. I found somebody that was able not only to create the movement that was going with my design, but it was actually already developing something that was in that direction.
Now, the design of the watch assumes a certain innovative underpinning. So you had the design of the watch before you had the mechanism to power it. You've centralized all the chronograph indications. You've created scrolling minutes, scrolling hours. In a lot of ways, Singer Porsche is about, well, reimagining Porsche 911s, but you still recognize the core car for what it is. You had a much more disruptive vision with respect to the chronograph. How did you decide to just blow it up and make the chronograph the dominant part of the watch rather than the actual time-telling function?
Let's say that the chrono function is the more automotive-related function we can imagine. And in the same way like Porsche back in time put the rev counter in the center of the dashboard, I wanted the chronograph function being on the center of our watch. So the idea was to split the information of the chrono from the time of the day in order to give the chrono the main position on the watch itself.
Now I recognize that as you're referencing automotive design of the 60s and the 70s, the watch itself references cues such as the radial satin grain on the lug hoods, the tonneau case form. These are all dominant design traits of 1970s sports chronographs. Let me know how vintage watch design influenced the design of the Track 1.
A lot, definitely. I'm a big collector of vintage watches. I have Oyers, Omegas, all these very iconic pieces. And of course the Otavia or the Flymaster played a big role in the inspiration for this watch. The finishing, as you mentioned, this sun ray brushing on the upper surface, the layout of the watch with a central dial and a turning bezel. These are very iconic element we can find, of course, in these watches, and that we can find again in the Singer Track 1, but they get a completely new dimension.
So now you've got a clientele with Singer Reimagined, Porsche owners and Porsche enthusiasts. And obviously there is a lot of overlap between watch collectors and car enthusiasts. But how did you decide to roll out the watch brand, knowing that you get one shot at doing it and there's already a lot of cynicism regarding watch-car collaborations? Did you turn the Singer clientele into the Singer watch clientele, or was it less direct?
Let's say that the Singer clients, they were the very first to react to the launch of the Singer Track 1 watch. Of course, we didn't imagine to create a watch brand just for Singer vehicle clients, because there are a handful of guys around the world that can buy these cars. We really address to very fine collectors that can understand the complexity of what we are doing, the incredible innovation inside the mechanism, and then of course that appreciate the design that we developed.
So now you also had an idea for the way the watch would look before you had the underlying mechanism, before you had a movement. Could you talk a little bit about the relationship with Agenhor and Jean-Marc and how this collaboration came together between design and the mechanism? We have the watch and the car, now let's talk about the design and the movement. How did that come to be?
As I said before, it came very much for an incredible coincidence, because I designed something on my side and Jean-Marc was developing something on his side, and we barely know each other, and we met actually at the moment in time where the two things were ready to take off. So when I showed him my design, he was like very surprised to see that it would match what he was developing on his side. And from that point on, the relation between us became very, very tight. I consider really Jean-Marc and his family very close on personal terms to myself and to the team and to all the people surrounding me. So it's much more than a supplier. It's much more than even a partner. It's part of the project, really.
And regarding, I suppose, the watch hobby and the production quantity, you have rolled this watch out very slowly since 2017 with only a few dozen made of any given variant, and probably I can't imagine you've even built 200 of them to this point?
Nope.
So how did you decide to be disciplined about volumes right out of the gate? Because it usually seems it's the opposite, sell as many as you can, as quickly as you can.
The point is that we came out on 2017, nobody was expecting Singer to create a watch brand. Nobody was expecting a new watch brand offering such a disruptive product. So it takes time to let people understand what we are about, what the product, what the mechanism is about. And if you push things too fast, too quickly, you just miss the opportunity to teach people, to let people understand what you have done and what is the philosophy behind the brand. So we could have introduced 2-3 models, but the reality is that still today people are surprised to see what we can deliver with this.
Now, we are at Dubai Watch Week, and you have a big reveal for the show. I believe 20 pieces of a Dubai... 25 pieces of a Dubai watch. Well, it's going to be a watch market. It's going to be a regional edition. It's not specifically for Watch Week, but it is a very special piece and distinct from anything you've done so far. Could you tell us a little bit about the Watch Week edition?
It is
the Dubai edition, pardon.
We call it actually Emirates edition. And the idea behind this watch is a kind of metaphor representing the Emirates. So I wanted to talk about the contrast in these geographical areas, the technology versus the tradition, and all the contrasting thing that you can feel and see in the country. So I represent it in a, I would say, straight forward way with the materials. So I play with a case that is matte black, contrasting with these shiny, polished, golden details.
In a lot of ways, it feels a little bit like you're building on your past work with the Hong Kong and the Geneva editions, and now that's sort of coming together in a synthesis with a gorgeous olive green dial to create the Emirates edition. how do you evolve the basic watch? Because at this point, you've come out with regional editions, and that's, other than the original 50 in titanium, that's really defined the watch. Each version of the watch is a local specialty. How do you capture the spirit of a place in a watch?
Let's say that every time we introduce a new version of the track one, we do it for a very special occasion. So today is the Dubai Watch Week, and our official, I would say, launch in this region. The London edition was for a very special event as well, the collaboration with Philips and the opening of Perpetual in London. So I try to, through the, I would say, designer sensibility, to try to represent and to render the feeling I have about the place and about the event itself, through the material, through the colors, and through the finishing of the watch.
Now there's a lot of innovative technology. You've got the Agenhor clutch, you've got the rotor hidden under the dial,
Yep.
solid 60-hour power reserve, a unique centralized chronograph. It's 100 meters water resistant, and though it's a 43, it's also fairly thin and easy to wear. That's a lot of new to package into one product.
Yeah.
If people are new to the brand and they want to kind of get to know Singer watches, what is the best way to find your watches and learn about the brand?
Wow. Let's say they can already learn a lot about us on our website, and what we are really trying to do very hard is to visit countries and to create small events for collectors to present and to put the watch in their hand, to realize what the watch is about. It's really, as you said, there is a lot to tell about these watches. There are a lot of information to be delivered and to be digested, because we are not used to see the information of the chronograph and delivered this way. So it takes time, and I think the best way is to attend one of our events through our commercial partners, or the one that we host around the world, and to handle the watches.
And so people can find out the dates and locations of your roadshow on your website.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, finally, I think whenever you have a compelling product, it has the potential to fire people up and draw them to a brand, to a hobby, to an interest maybe that wasn't initially up their alley or in their vein, so to speak. Is it possible that down the line, rather than thinking of Singer watches as an outgrowth of Singer Reimagined Porsche, that you might actually be bringing people over to the Porsche side who experience the watch first and discover the car second?
Let's say that Singer vehicle design is way more famous than we are with the watches. But it happened that some client discovering the watch asked why, for example, the watch brand name is Singer. So I explain, of course, them that it comes from the collaboration with, and then they got the full story, and of course they got interested also by the cars.
And because I know our viewers are going to be asking, which Porsche is your favorite of all time? You hinted earlier.
Yeah, I'm into the air-cooled ones. I daily drive a 993. Blue with
right
gray
answer.
interior. But in terms of aesthetic, probably my ever favorite is the 930 Turbo.
Watch guy and a car guy. He's one of us. Singer watches, check them out online, and if you have the opportunity, look up the locations of the roadshow and try it. I have to say it's the most interesting new chronograph released in the last 5 years, and probably the best ever crossover between a car and a watch brand. Thank you so much, Marco.
Thank you.